Hey there, today we're going to talk about how to build a web page. We're going to talk about something called HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Hypertext Markup Language, or HTML, is what you see when you go to different websites today. That's what's working to display the content. So let's get started. For this, all you need is a Windows 10 or a Windows 11 machine. I'm using Windows 11, but you can use Windows 10 as well. So over here on my Windows 11 machine, we're going to go to the Start menu. Then we're going to type in Notepad. And we're going to click on the Notepad app. So, to build a web page, we need to start using HTML. So, to start, we need to do a less than sign, followed by a bang. In tech speak, a bang is short for exclamation point. And then doc type, all one word, a space, and HTML. Now, the document knows that we will be doing HTML code here. Hit return. And now we're going to do what's called an HTML tag. To do an HTML tag, you need a less than sign, HTML, and then a greater than sign. And then you also need what's called a closing tag. To do that, you need a less than sign, a forward slash, you type HTML again, and a greater than sign, and that's it. Now we're inside of the HTML document. This is where we're going to put our actual HTML code that will display information to us on a web page. So, to get started, let's start with a head tag. You have an opening tag and you have a closing tag. Perfect. Now, inside the head is where you can put whatever you want the tab of the browser to say. And we use that using something called a title tag. And in this case, we're just going to say HTML tutorial. Sweet. Now notice I didn't put this lower because this is going to work just the same as these tags over here. I'm saying tags a lot, so I should probably explain what those are. When you're doing HTML code, everything is a tag. So you tag HTML to say, I'm doing HTML code. You tag the head to say, this is where the head of the document is. You use the title tag to say, this is what I want to display in the browser tab. So we have a head tag, we have our title. Now we have to move on to the body tag. Opening tag, closing tag. Get into that mantra. Don't forget your closing tags. The body is where the main content's going to be for the web page. This is what renders when you go to a web page. So for this, let's make a header. So header 1, that's going to be an H1 tag. And we will do HTML tutorial. Closing header 1 tag. Great. Now, there are different heading tags. So let's do a header 2. And we can say by, I'm going to say by Nick Thurston. Perfect. Then the last one I want to show you is called the paragraph tag. What do you think this one's going to be? If you said it's just a lowercase p, you'd be correct. 10 points. Then we'll just do HTML paragraph tag. Closing paragraph tag. That's pretty good. But you know what I really want? I want this HTML to be bold. So guess what? There's a tag for that. And it's B. Opening bold tag, closing bold tag. Perfect. All right. So we have a web page ready right here. So let's figure out how to make our computer display it as a web page. Now pay attention because this is the part that really matters. We have to save this document as a .html or a .htm. So how you do that is you go up to File, Save As, and instead of text documents, you're going to choose All Files, and we're going to change the name of this to web page. And here's the important part, .html. And I'm going to save it to the desktop so we can see what happens. Here it is on our desktop, and you'll notice that it took the icon of Microsoft Edge. That's because when we click on that document, it's going to open in Microsoft Edge because it is reading it as a web page. And there we go. Everything that we made in that document is displayed right here. So congratulations, you just made your first HTML document / web page. Now, it doesn't look pretty, so later on in the series, I'll go over something called CSS, and that's short for Cascading Style Sheets. That's how you make your HTML look much better. And you can format things, and there's a whole lot you can do with it. And then later on, we'll talk about JavaScript, but that's a little more advanced, so we're going to keep that for later. But for right now, congratulations. You did it. Now, just something to note really quick. Don't try to send this to your friends and say, look, I made a web page. They're not going to see it. This is only running on your machine. This is just a document on your machine. But again, later on, I'll show you how to host it somewhere so you can share it. Until then, thanks for watching. Keep learning.